Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, colleagues. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are having a no holds barred interview between myself, Dr. Loyiso and Mr. Andile Sidinile. We'll be discussing boxing, nothing else. Boxing, the coming event of Terence Bud Crawford versus Sean Porter. And we'll also be discussing Teofimo Lopez versus Kambosos Jr. and the Azinga fight. So let's give them a minute to join us because the show is starting at 10 minutes past 6. Thank you very much. We have to guess. Okay. Just try it. Good. Good afternoon, Brother Lois. Aniva, Brother Lois. Ne? Okay, let me check my mic. My microphone is fine. Dais, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Brother Lois can't hear me. My mic is on.
Maga unmute, maga olu.
Okay. Dais, can you hear me?
Unmute and the corner. Unmute. Unmute.
You are muted, Bryce. Then you are fine. But why am I? Dais, can you hear me? I can't hear both of you.
Clear. You can't hear me. You can't hear me now.
Okay, let's give it some time. Maybe it's still calibrating itself, and we've got broadband issues, colleagues. I can't wait for this debate, and looks like we'll have to check what's going on with our technology. And now, let me see my microphone. Let me take out this microphone. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud.
Now I can hear you.
No, you can't hear me.
No, Pralois, raise your volume. Yes, I can hear you, Price. Pralois, please raise your volume. Your volume, check your volume somewhere. Your volume is low.
100%. My volume is 100%.
That's all. Cool.
Now we can hear you.
That's it. The problem is that you're trying to sabotage me. The opponent he wants the fight to be postponed.
Over.
Hey, wait.
Yeah, it looks like there's an opponent here that is playing games with us. Wants the fight to postpone, but there is no chance now. You know, we are live. Welcome to Mbuyekezo TV on YouTube. Thank you very much, Dr. Mtya and Mr. Andile Sidinile for gracing us with your presence this afternoon. We marketed the event to say every boxing fan, every boxing stakeholder must join us as we debate boxing. You know what? Just debating boxing and trying to get ourselves ready for the big fight this weekend, and also the fights that will be coming in the week later. And now, as a way of welcoming both of you, I just want to congratulate you, Dr. Mtya, for your award of being given a doctorate, you know, at the boxing professor Hawkman to you. We hope that it will happen to many people who have given themselves and their lives to boxing for many years. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're also welcome.
Okay. And then, yes. And also, welcome Sijuta Jr, the ace. Thank you very much for gracing us again with your presence. This debate is I mean, was organized because of your comments, you know, because of your comments, whereby actually you shocked me, and you said Sean Porter is going to knock Terence Crawford, and you know, I thought, no, this needs a serious debate. You know, I must get a very good opponent for this debate, so that we can take this discussion into deep waters and get to understand both boxers, you know, their strength and their skills, you know, who have they fought before, and why are we saying that Terence Crawford is going to win, and why are we saying that Sean Porter is going to win. So as I spoke to you earlier, Loyiso, if you don't mind me calling you Loyiso for the purposes of this debate, you said that you believe that Terence Crawford is going to win, and Thais is laughing. Thais said, no, there's no way. Sean Porter is going to knock Terence Crawford. I almost fell to my chair. I said, no, Thais, no. I haven't studied Sean Porter, that I've seen him fighting, and I thought that, yes, he has got power. He engages himself into the fight, and he wants to be successful, and his work rate is high. But you know, I haven't seen him to have the skills to challenge or to beat Terence Crawford. But what happened? What surprised me, Thais, let me confess. After I spoke to you, I went to both boxers' records, and I found that Porter has actually fought credible opponents. And I said, hey, now this requires one to sit down and think now. Because Terence Crawford has fought, I mean, also good boxers, but not to the same scale and caliber as that Porter has fought. So which makes the fight very interesting for both boxers, and we expect a big fight this weekend. Now, let me start with you, Thais. You know, Sean Porter has got 31 fights, 3 losses, and 1 loss. He has lost against Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and Kell Brook. But he has won against Danny Garcia, Eudenis Ogas, that we know is a good boxer who beat Manny Pacquiao, and Andre Battle. You know, I mean, a powerful a boxer with a punch. So now I can see where you come from, but I really need you to unpack for us, you know, why do you think that Sean Porter is going to not only win, but stop Terence Crawford?
Yeah. Good evening to you, and also to Dr. Mtya. I know if I don't say doctor, I might be sued. So I need to say doctor so
Yes.
that I don't get summons after the interview. Yes. You know, in boxing, there's a long standing or a phrase that says, "Styles make fights." Crawford is a skillful boxer. No one said he's not. But Crawford, if you look at Crawford, when he fights in angles. And when he fights in angles, he likes to change stances. He fights as a southpaw, fights as an orthodox. He is very much better as a southpaw, actually, than an orthodox. But the issue is, he has not fought anyone of the same caliber as Porter. He has not. He has not fought anyone who will take a fight to him. He has not. He has not fought anyone who punches from all angles and comes forward. He has not fought a bully. Porter is a bully. Now, if you look at the kind of boxers like Porter, in boxing they are called swammers. They swam you with punches. Because when great trainers sit down and discuss a fight just to plan, and they will ask you what stance is he, and you can't say he's a southpaw or he's an orthodox. No, they're not asking that question. They're asking if he's a smart boxer or a swimmer. Now in South Africa we had a swimmer who beat Bungu. Now look at who beat fighting Kennedy McKinney. He beat him twice. Why? Because of the style. And it was difficult for Kennedy McKinney to fight on the back foot. So that's exactly what is going to happen now. Crawford is going to be difficult for him to fight on the back foot. I know that he's going to try and give angles and try and he's a good counter puncher. I can't take that away from him. He's going to try and try to counter punch. But the problem is Porter is a very underrated puncher. That's the third point. The fourth point is that Porter, 3 seconds do not pass without him throwing a punch. So you've got a rain of punches from Porter. You don't even know where they are coming from. So and the last point is that with Porter, he's got a very underrated jab. With that, go and ask Danny Gashi about that jab, and go and ask who's this guy, Spence, about that jab. The last point about Porter as to why he's going to beat Crawford. Is that Porter is known to punish the opponent based on the opponent's mistakes. He slips punches, and when he slips underneath, he whacks the body. So that's where Crawford is going to have a problem. That's why in Xhosa we can say because he's going to be punched every second of the round, every second of the round, every second of the round. And he's going to be made so uncomfortable in that ring that he might even quit. That's my opposing point. He might even quit.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's very interesting. Now you can see why Dr. Mtya called you and said, "No, please rescue me here." No, this is very good analysis of the strength of Shaun Porter. We have not discussed his weaknesses, and I guess that's where you are going to take it, Dr. Mtya, that what are his weaknesses? Because when I looked at Bud Crawford record, I mean, he has never been beaten. 37 fights, no loss, no draw. But I mean, when I looked at the people that he's fought, I was worried that he doesn't have youth in his focus. He doesn't have.
He has never been beaten by who? He has never been beaten by who?
Now, this needs a serious analysis. So let's hear you, Loyiso. What is your take on this fight? Why do you think that Crawford is going to win?
Thank you, Mo. The truth of the matter, Mo, is that me and Asu are going to be agreeing on a lot of things. But at the end of the day, you are going to be differing because somewhere along the line, there's got to be a decision. And the decision is going to be made by the two boxers, either a knockout or on points. Truth again is that this fight is tough for both of these boxers because each and everyone, both of them have not met a boxer with the caliber of the other. Porter is a stormer. Porter is an avalanche. Porter is brutal. Porter's work rate is like no other work rate in boxing. And he's got power, he's got stamina, he's got pressure, he's going to be all over you for 12 rounds. But somewhere along the line, as boxing will always show you, you are going to meet somebody who's going to be having all the answers for what you bring. Because look at the fact that, for instance, the three guys he has met who were able to fight a little bit, they all beat him. Thurman beat him. Who else is there? The three guys, it's Thurman, it's Kelbrook, yes, and
Spence.
Those guys,
Spence
guys beat him, and Spence even dropped him. Now, those guys, if you compare those guys to Terence Crawford's speed, to Terence Crawford's eyesight, timing, to Crawford's power, and to Crawford's durability, they don't measure with him. As a result, while this guy, Porter, is going to be coming all over, throwing all finding the range. He's not going to be finding the angles. He's not going to be finding the points where he's going to put in because he is also meeting the best counter puncher we have in boxing to date. A switch hitter. And if you're a switch hitter and you are able in a split second to change your stance and change your combination and counter punch, then you're the best. That's why he is one of the 5 best boxers pound for pound today. He's going to find the holes in that style. He's going to find the holes and he is going to beat. He may even stop Porter late in the fight because he's not going to start getting tired after 8 rounds. In fact, with him, the longer the fight, the better. And Porter may have a very good first 3 or 4 rounds. But watch what happens after round 5. He's going to have sorted it all out and he's going to start beating him. And the fight is going to be like one-sided. From round 6 going onwards, it can even now be stopped at round 10, 11, or 12. That's my point.
Where will Crawford be after round 6?
Crawford will still be there. In fact, Crawford will still be now. It's the time Crawford will be starting to get into the fight because the first 2 or 3 rounds, yes, he is not good. Yes, this guy is going to be all over him, but his defense is so good that he's going to make sure that those 3 rounds where he will still be warming up, he will still be good enough to weather the storm.
Okay.
Fight that. And once he gets into his gear from round 4, you'll see what's going to happen.
Let's go back a little bit. Do you agree that Porter is a big puncher?
I do.
Tick.
But again, having said that, his knockout ratio is not as good as it shows. It's not as good as where you would say this is somebody with good power. You know why?
No, he's not.
Because
he's not a knockout specialist.
He's not a knockout specialist. He throws a lot of punches, but a lot of his punches are not correct punches. That is the reason. He's not able to put them together to stop people.
Okay. Okay. No. So let's take that first block. He's a big puncher. Do you agree that Porter attacks the body like anybody else?
I agree, especially when the opponents agree with him that, come, take my body, I'm not going to hit you back. Yes, he does.
Chick, do you agree that a sustained attack on the body by a hard puncher for 4 or 5 full rounds, it saps the energy of the opponent?
I said from the beginning, on a lot of things we are going to agree. I agree that that kind of attack on the body takes the energy of an opponent. We are not talking about just an opponent here. We're talking about somebody else. That is why he has been able to beat the guys that he's beaten. But the 3 guys who could fight a bit, Thurman, Spence, Brook, he was not able to save their energy because those guys could fight. Now he's meeting a guy who's better than all of them.
No. I'm not disputing on that one. I'm just following up on your point that you say that Crawford, from round 6, his energy will be up. It can be.
Yes.
It can be. His energy won't be up. No.
It can, because it's Crawford.
If the sustained attack on the body saps the energy of the opponent, so he's going to be somewhere here in terms of that energy.
Yes.
I would agree with you.
If that attack is allowed to be effective, then that is what is going to happen. But if that attack is not allowed, as it is not going to be allowed on this one, and he's going to be beaten back as he comes, then you'll see what's going to happen. Because he was still attacking Thurman's body, he was attacking Spence's body, he was attacking Brooks' body. In fact, Spence even dropped him after having been attacked on that body. This time, this one is not just going to drop him, this one is going to be stopping him. In fact, you are right when you are saying the effect. That's true, but it depends on who is the opponent.
No.
Who's the opponent?
Look, I was listening to Crawford yesterday. Crawford was saying a lot of people were making mistake of fighting Potter's fight. You know, the ding-dong kind of fight. And the fighter would also be a swimmer. And then he says he's going to be there because he believes in his beliefs that he is a smarter fighter. He might be a smarter fighter in terms of the definition of sweet science. But my problem is he will be forced to fight. He has got to fight Potter's fight. Because
if he can't.
Yeah.
If he allows Potter to fight his fight, because in boxing, at the end of the day, the winner is the one who is able to impose his will. Yes. The winner is the one on whose terms the fight is fought. Exactly. Well, if he allows Potter to do that, yes, that will happen. Yeah. But unfortunately, that is not what is going to happen. Potter is going to come swarming. He's going to come throwing everything. But unfortunately, his porous defense, because he's got to be walking through punches. He's fighting against one of the best counterpunchers. He's fighting against one of the best eye-sighted boxers he's going to come across, and he's fighting against a cross-fighter. He's not going to be able to do all the things that
Look, he won't have time to have eyesight or to counterpunch because he'll be busy defending himself.
That's the point I want us to
because the punches will be coming from all angles.
Yeah, punches will be coming from all angles. But all punches will be coming from all angles. They will be landing on shoulders. They will be landing on elbows. They will be landing on hands, and then they will be landing somewhere in the air. And at that time, he's going to be counterpunched. And the uppercut that caught him against Spence will catch him early this time. And this uppercut that caught him against Spence, this one will keep him down there on the canvas. Or
when you throw an uppercut, you are left open. So you need to throw it with a very good timing. Will he have it?
Whatever punch you throw, punch you throw in boxing, there is that split second where you are open, whoever you are. That's why good counterpunchers are able to beat people. It's not the uppercut only. Even your hook, even your straight, there is a punch to counter it. It is a matter of speed. It is a matter of timing.
And now, Loyiso, how is Crawford's defense? You know, I hear that he has speed, has got a very good eyesight, but in his defense, how is it? How can you rate it or compare it with?
His defense is one of the best in the division. That is the reason he's been able to beat everybody. But I know that you guys are saying, who is everybody? Unfortunately, the everybody that you guys have always wanted to fight, wanted him to fight, is on the other side of the pool. Because unfortunately, boxing being business, boxers are conducted to other camps. And all these guys that he has always wanted to fight, he has not been able to get, because those guys are with PBC. And he is with
No.
Those guys,
I disagree.
Those guys are with PBC, he with Top Rank. And then finally, he gets this one. Because this one is prepared to fight anybody, that's number one. Again, this one is desperate in that he hasn't beaten anybody to make him, to put him up there as a great boxer. He's lost to the best. Unfortunately, this is a wrong fight again, because it takes Crawford, it takes the best of them all. Crawford hasn't been able to get those guys simply because those guys are not in his same stable. They are with LRB and Mayweather and PBC and Al Heyman. He is with Bob Arum.
No.
What do you say, Dice?
No, I disagree. I disagree. Porter approached Crawford 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's there, it's on record. And Crawford said no. They approached him again about a year ago. And Crawford said no. Now, it's the WBO who forced the fight to happen. Because Porter is a mandatory challenger. Now, let's get back a little bit. He might not be having a chance to fight on the IBC, on the PBC. Why? Precisely because no one watches Crawford. He can't even sell his family's dining room. No one wants to watch him. So he doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't. So, because there's a boxer that wanted to fight him about a year ago, and Bob Arum didn't want that fight. I'm talking about Virgil Ortiz Jr. He was the mandatory before Porter. He didn't. You know why? Because Virgil Ortiz knocks everyone out. So this time, the WBO issued an instruction that he should defend against Porter, failing which he would have been stripped of his title. That's a fact. That's a fact. So this is a very uncomfortable fight for Crawford, because he has been used to fighting C-class fighters and so on.
You see, as I said before, we will agree on a lot of things, but we will not agree on the outcome of the fight. And at the same time,
so you're waiting for the end of the debate.
That's it. At the same time, some of the reasons put forward for fights not to happen, it depends on who you are listening to. Because some reasons are just made for marketing purposes. Some reasons are really made for the person who actually says, I called him out. You find that is the one who actually does not want the fight, but he's using that name to actually uplift his status amongst the boxing fans. Because we hear all of those things every day about people wanting that one. Look at Garcia today. He has called everybody except Jesus Christ. But every time they have said, Garcia, he has the fight. He has had something that I'm mentally wrong, I've broken this, he hasn't taken the fight. That's what also was happening with Floyd Mayweather. Guys were saying he is avoiding them. But when he actually says, let's fight, it's the guys that says, no, I'm busy with something else. But again, I want to agree with Ace on the fact that, okay, those fights have not happened. And those fights, it may have been Crawford himself. I don't know. It may have been Crawford himself who did not take those fights. But, well, we're talking about this one. He has taken this one. And to him, looking for a big fight and getting it, it's like getting this kind of fight to him is like the Holy Grail. Everybody wants it. Everybody doesn't get it. But
but he was forced to take this fight. He was forced.
I don't think that is important now. I think what is important is that this fight is going on.
It is in terms of his mindset.
That's it. And then this fight is going to answer all those questions about who has he beaten? Why isn't he just selling tickets? Why is he this? He's going to do this one, and after this one, then all of those questions will be set aside. Terence Crawford is going to be too good for Porter. Porter is going to be there. Porter is going to be making an interesting fight like he always does. But he doesn't have that mentality to win against the big ones, the real big ones. His limit, his ceiling.
But who's the real big one? Who's the real big one?
And he's going to meet a real good one. This one is a pound for pound great. This one is one of the greatest welterweights you've seen. This one could have been at home with your likes of Manny Pacquiao, of your Sugar Ray Leonard, and all of that. This one just hasn't had the chance to prove it because for one reason or other, and from the same reasons that Ace has been putting forward, nobody has actually wanted to come forward and fight him. Now, this one has been clever enough or stupid enough to take it. He's going to have his head taken off. You will see how he's going to fall.
Have you looked at the box rack? Have you looked at the box rack and top 10 pound for pound recently?
Well, the box rack pound for pound. In fact, the pound for pound thing is a mythical thing. It depends on how you as a person sees things because there is no clear measurement. That's a myth. It depends on how you see it. Now, they may say whatever they say, but I have my own views and my own ideas about it. It doesn't mean because people are saying the first 5 pound for pound, so that is the truth. Okay. No. You may find that the best pound for pound is not even in their top 15.
Let me rephrase that question. Have you looked at the consensus pound for pound list recently?
By consensus, I know that you mean majority. We are dealing with majorities that are wrong every day. Majorities, if majorities were right,
the majority will be proven wrong this weekend
in our countries. Majority consensus. Oh, those people forget about majority. We would be having better leaders.
But on a serious note, this is going to be a very interesting fight, a very tough fight for both of them. But with the points that I raised earlier, I still feel that Porter is going to knock out Terence Crawford because I really can't see a way of Terence Crawford beating a come forward swimmer. As they say, styles make fights, and I'm going to say this until my face, turn blue, because it's the way it is.
Blue already.
Basically. I know.
From where I'm sitting, your face is turning blue already.
So it's something that we'll have to see this Sunday, this coming Sunday morning. That's one. Two. It is the psychological part now of the fight, because earlier on we're talking the mechanicals of the fight. Now let's talk the psychological part. Because Porter is aware that if he loses this opportunity, that's a hooray for him. It's bye-bye Porter.
Yes.
He knows that. Okay? So he goes into this fight knowing it's all or nothing. Okay? Such a person is dangerous.
He's motivated.
Such a person is dangerous. Now let's go for Crawford. Crawford goes into this fight thinking, you know what? I'm supposed to be fighting Spence. I'm supposed to be fighting Spence. So this is just another fight that Uncle Bob gave me. I don't think he takes this fight as serious as he should. I don't think he takes Porter as serious as he should. I really don't think that he considers himself in the same level as Porter. So you have a guy who thinks that this is my swan song. And you also have a guy who thinks, and then you have a guy who thinks this guy is not in my class. So
that's the beginning.
Exactly. And then complacency will creep in. And
which days I think which days I don't want to defect our discussion. I think I saw that also in Canelo fight. Canelo last fight. Canelo was struggling to get into the fight because he was not motivated. He thought that I'm going to beat this guy, I'm going to knock this guy, but he was not performing in the early rounds to understand that his corner was very worried, trying to push him, that he must fight and get some points or knock this guy off. So I agree with you that I think Sean Porter is more motivated than Crawford. What do you think? What do you think, Loyiso?
I would say
motivation.
Yes, I like the points Ace is putting forward, but in terms of, instead of saying motivated, I would say desperate. To me, he is going to be desperate. And to me, that desperation is going to cause him to make a lot of mistakes, is going to cause him to walk into punches. I know he has taken this fight very seriously because this may be goodbye to him. That is why desperation is going to take over. I know also for the fact that in terms of sparring, he has sparred with the likes of Caleb Plant. He has sparred with the likes of Durrell. He has even called Javonda Davis because of the style to come and get him used to that fast southpaw power punching machine that is going to be meeting, that is Terence Crawford. But I think, again, having said that, it won't be motivation, it will be desperation. He is going to walk into a lot of punches, and when he starts to see
I was still talking about Porter and Crawford.
What he sees, when he sees that it is not happening, then that's where he's going to start coming running. And Crawford is just going to tease this guy off. I want to talk about Plant and Alvarez, if you wanted me to do that. No, that fight is past. That goes on. We are going on now with the fight that's coming on. Terence Crawford is going to take this guy apart. Yes, the fight itself is going to be very good. In fact, it's a contender for fight of the year. I see a fight of the year coming with the way Porter is going to fall, come back to fight and fall again. And end of the day, Andile's face will have turned so blue that in fact you will hardly be seeing him. You may think, hey, this is not Andile. That is mine. It's Crawford, and it's Crawford, whether it's a points, whether it's a technical knockout. I am seeing a clean knockout. Well, that's it.
Yes. No, that's very interesting. No, I think this fight is going to be interesting because both boxers are motivated, but I'm not sure if really are we going to see Terence Crawford versus Spence. Because that's what should motivate Crawford.
I would have loved to see that fight, but it's not going to happen.
I didn't hear that
Porter
question.
is going to spoil the because Porter is going to spoil the party. It ain't happening.
I didn't hear that at all.
No,
I was asking
if. Yeah, no. Tell him what you're asking.
No, I was asking if we are going to see the fight between Crawford and Spence Jr. You know, or Spence is going to spoil or Sean Porter is going to spoil that vision.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know what's happening because you guys are supposed to be right there in the best part of the country in town. I am in rural Mount Cook, but it looks like your faults are on. You are on Tilly. You are talking ha and he and ho. I can't hear what you guys are.
I'll see him.
Yeah, hey, this platform.
Yeah, but on a serious note. Yeah, but on a serious note, I mean, in the near future, I don't see the fight between Spence and Crawford happen, irrespective of what happens to this fight right here. Okay, because there's a trend now in the sanctioning bodies, the trend of making sure that they follow their rankings or their ratings. Now look at the WBA.
Yes.
Now look at the WBA. Ugas was supposed to fight Spence, but the WBA said,
yes,
we need to have one champion at welterweight or at 147. So let's have a four man league. That's one point. The second point is with the WBC. Spence is the champion at WBC. One way or the other, after this particular fight, he will have to honor his mandatory because he has been inactive for some time. So he's got to honor that mandatory. And then mandatory for the IBF and also for the WBC. Okay. And then Crawford, WBC. Let's say, for argument's sake, in a very unlikely event that he beats Otter. Very unlikely that he beats Otter. Crawford will have to fight whoever. And I know for a fact that Crawford is earmarked to fight Josh Taylor, the undisputed champion at 140 currently. So I know that Taylor has got a mandatory coming up now in December, so he will fight George Taylor sometime in March or April next year. So the fight between him and Spence is like miles, thousands of miles away for now. It's not even in the radar.
Yeah. No, this is going to be interesting. I think we've lost Loyiso on the platform. He's been accusing us of using Dilili. Yet his phone is coming to disappoint him. Yeah. No, this is very interesting. Now yes. But we will continue and wait for him. I heard in one interview that Porter claims to know Crawford, like they grew up together. I don't know if maybe they fought at a amateur level or in the early years of their careers, because he looks very confident also.
No, they didn't, because remember, Crawford turned professional as a lightweight. He was a champion at lightweight, in case you forgot.
Yes.
And then he became champion at 140, and then now he's at 147. Now, Porter was an amateur at 154. and he went down when he became a professional. But Porter knows Crawford because Porter has been the commentator of the game. And remember, they were supposed to fight 2 years ago. Remember, they were supposed to fight 2 years ago. So he knows everything that is there to know about Crawford. The other thing is that there is no bad blood or animosity between them. It's just friendship. It's just friendship. And then Crawford said, well, friendship ends here and now. We'll be friends again after the fight. So it's going to be interesting, but they have a common, did I say common opponent? No, it's not common opponent. There's a boxer from Arizona called Jose Benavides. Jose Benavides was knocked out by Crawford in the last round. Okay? And then Jose Benavides, Jose Benavides, the same situation as Zumagwata and Zumagwata and Uvekeka. He was shot in the leg, but he healed, and then he went on. He went on. He fought Crawford, was knocked out round 11 or 12. He has a 10 now. Now Jose Benavides sparred Crawford. Sparred Porter.
Yeah.
And the word out that he hammered Porter. That's the word out there. So Crawford has got that hope that I knocked out Benavides, and yet Benavides hammered Porter. Yesterday, as I was going through some boxing stuff, I learned that Porter is sparring Tank Davis.
Yes.
As Tank Davis is preparing for this fight, he's sparring Porter. And I'm told that was a good sparring. I'm not going to say who did they say won the sparring or what, but I'm told it was a good sparring.
It was a good sparring.
Yeah.
We've got an echo from your side.
I don't know what's going on.
No, I think it's from Pralois, but when he came in, then we had an echo from him. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting that there's a lot of fights. So boxers meet in the gym also and spar to help each other to prepare for their fights. So it's going to be interesting, this weekend how it's going to turn up to be. And now today I didn't check. As I was traveling, I was not able to check if we are going to have the final press conference like we normally do, like on Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
I think it's tomorrow.
It's okay.
Today it was arrivals.
Oh, okay.
And then tomorrow you have the press conference. Yeah.
The press conference tomorrow. Yeah. We've got a question from Dots. He's asking if you're going to put your money, on Porter. Are you going to be using some betway, or are you willing to bet that Porter is going to knock out Terence Crawford?
Easy money. I'll bet on Porter knocking out Crawford around 9 or 10.
Yes.
Easy money. Easy money. I will bet on that.
Because as I listen to both of you, I think you are saying that Porter has a chance to stop Crawford in early rounds, and Pralois is saying that Terence Crawford he has a chance to stop Porter in the later rounds, which I think is a fair analysis and conclusion to this debate. I don't know.
Yeah, it is, but I still believe because Porter has got this has got this ability to sustain the attacks to the body. I believe that Crawford won't be able to take that for a sustained period, unless of course, in boxing is called a haymaker. Unless he throws a haymaker somewhere in between, then I lose. Then I lose.
Then you lose.
Then I lose, and it's part of the game. But I really can't believe that he will throw it, because you see when you're fighting Porter, it's difficult to find a range because it's always on your face. Unless you time his coming in, like Spencer did. What Spencer did was that he timed him coming, and then he threw a left hook. And then he dropped him right there. And then with when Crawford fought Thurman, I think it was in the later rounds also. He caught him as Porter was getting out, because he got out with his guard down, and then he threw, a wide punch, and then he fell down. So unless you can do that, which is very much difficult to do, I must say, then I'll come to your channel again and do what? And just apologize. Nothing else.
No. I mean, guys, we make our boxing exciting by debating and trying to say this is going to win, this guy is going to win against the other. But really, I mean, it's boxing. Anything can happen. We can't control that. No, thanks, guys. And I think we've exhausted this issue. Let me just check Bralois again. Looks like he's here, but he's here. I don't want us to conclude without his presence. Bralois, we want to conclude, presence. Can you hear us?
I've been listening to you guys. I've been listening to you guys.
I know. Okay.
No, brothers. I was saying that in conclusion, I think we agree. If I take your point and his point, that if Porter sticks to his plan, as described in this debate, he has a better chance of stopping Crawford or getting more points in the early rounds. Or if then Crawford stick to his style, that as you describe it, he has a better chance of stopping Sean Porter in the later rounds or winning the fight. That's our conclusion.
The longer the fight, the better for Crawford.
Yes. So I agree with you. Because I'm worried about that uppercut when he's swimming. Okay.
No.
You're gonna catch him swimming.
Yeah, because you raised a good example. The example of the beast. But the beast, as he is looking down, he has got a very good defense. It was difficult to catch him. So now I'm not sure if Porter, has got same defense, in that style. But it should be interesting.
No, don't be mistaken. the Porter's defense is to attack. Porter's defense is to attack. Okay, that's
so was the beast.
The first one. No, that's the first one. The second one is, look at Porter clearly. Very technical. He doesn't just go in. He feints before he goes in. He feints. He wants you to commit, and when you commit, he slips the punches and start working on the body.
When you see. Imikretsu will commit when you not Crawford.
We have a comment from Utu-X Dais. Porter could not stop Formela, who was beaten by Mbenge. You know, what do you think by that? So he says, no, you can't compare the two.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? Boxing is not mathematics. Boxing is not mathematics. You can't say if X is equal to Y and Y is equal to Z and therefore X is equal to Z. You can't say that this is boxing. All right.
That's why boxing is so interesting.
Because boxing is very interesting.
It's so interesting that when it doesn't agree with what you say, it's not mathematics. And then you go on to say your story and then you put on mathematics.
Yes. You only in boxing you only come with mathematics if you don't have points to argue. Then you start being some kind of a philosopher or anything. That's not boxing. With boxing, you have to know your facts.
Yeah.
But at the back of your mind, you know that anything can happen. Why? Because it is boxing.
Yeah.
That's the essence of this game. I watched the fight. Let me probably respond to Clem. I watched the fight between Fonella and Porter. Now let's look at the context. The fight happened at the height of the pandemic. No fans, no one. And it was Porter's first fight after losing to Spence. Okay? I could say, because that fight was for the mandatory position of WBA. Okay? So let's say he could have, of the WBO, I'm sorry. Let's say he knocked out the guy in the first 3 rounds. So it would have meant that in 2 years, he would have fought 3 rounds. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
So, you know, the guys, I'm sure Upralos will agree with me on this one. The guys at that level, they plan the fight to the T.
Yeah.
Take him to 12 rounds because we're giving ourselves 12. Let's try new things by fighting this guy. Let's try don't knock him out. Let's try new things. Because if we would have knocked that guy in the first round or the 3rd round, he would have had more than 2 years or 3 rounds in 2 years. That's not good preparation for Crawford, is it?
No, it can never be, you know.
Exactly.
But no.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. Thanks, Bursi, for your comment, and everyone who's commented during this debate. We're still going on, colleagues. So we're not done. But I think we all agree that we are going to watch the fight very closely. And we say that according to the analysis, Porter is winning the first early rounds, and Crawford is winning the last rounds, the championship rounds. So it's up to them who then brings it to the ring. So we will wait and see. And there is a lot of I think there's a press conference tomorrow that you must check on YouTube so that we can follow the fight. And also there is a weigh-in later in the week. Okay, colleagues, I promise that we will discuss Lopez versus Kambosos Jr. We are left with 30 minutes for our discussion. Lopez has never lost, and also Kambosos Jr. has never lost. You know, he never tasted defeat. And but when I looked, it looks like it's a similar situation. Also, when you look at Kambosos, you don't know the names there, the people that he has fought. But then when you look at Teofimo, you know, you look at exciting challengers there, like so not challengers, but opponents, you know, in Lomachenko and Komi. So what do you think this fight is going to look like, Loyiso?
This fight is very interesting in that, well, we all know Teofimo, and we know that he is the real deal. He's also a pressure fighter, knows how to box, and he's a good entertainer. And well, beating Lomachenko and Comey, actually putting up there amongst the best. But Kambosos is you know, an unknown but can also be dangerous opponent for him, because we don't know much about him. Yes, he's fought in the United States and he's got an unbeaten record, and I think his biggest win was against Lee Selby. But at the same time, if you look at his background and how he prepares, and he has prepared for fights, you find that you see here a guy who may put up a very good fight or even cause an upset. He is from that history of Australia. He comes from Sparta. If you remember the stories, Amakongwase Sparta, how they were trained from early ages to become strong fighters, and now he also has got that thing on his body that says no retreat, no surrender, and it's a war cry. It's a war cry, and they say that even the way he fights that way. I saw only one fight of him, the one against Lee Selby. I'm not expecting him to win the fight, but I'm expecting him to put up one good, brutal fight until maybe the real deal, that is Teofimo Lopez, overcomes him and stops him from midway going forward. Or we may see upsets that we are not expecting.
Yeah, no, it will be a very interesting fight. It looks like really the matchmaking, I mean, in these fights is very good. You know, it makes these fights very, very exciting. Of course, Dots does not agree with our conclusion of our first debate, but then we'll leave that to the fight itself. And thanks, Mawawa, for your comment and encouragements. Let's say now we don't want to look beyond Kambosos, but Teofimo is is surrounded, you know, by giants in his divisions, you know, that should he win this fight, I mean, they're waiting for him. Like Hani, what do you think about Davis or Hani fight?
You see, the opponents around him, the other champions, as you are saying, they don't have a high regard for him. Yes, he may have beaten a good one in Lomachenko, but he took the franchise title. And that franchise title, guys don't actually recognize it as the real deal, because you are like being appointed. You get appointed there and become a champion. And at the same time, I think it's a way of avoiding the mandatories. You just pick whoever you want to fight, because the guys in that division can fight. David Haney is a sneaky one. Is very good. Does not have much power, but it doesn't give you all those angles where you can actually use and beat him. So there's still a big fight coming. There's still many big fights coming amongst those four guys, and the Teofimo Lopez being there, unless he gets upset by this guy.
Yes. So what do you think about Tank Davis versus Teofimo Lopez? Because Mawawa thinks that Tank Davis is a puncher, Lopez might not stand his punch.
I think Teofimo, maybe I may be biased because he's a southpaw. I am, when I talk southpaws, I talk myself, and I like those guys. I like a guy who's southpaw, who knows his southpaw stance, who knows his southpaw strengths and limitations, who knows where he is in the ring and has to do this because I am southpaw. And Gervonta Davis is one of those guys. And I believe he is in the top 10 already. A lot of people believe that he's good, but he's not yet there. But when the time comes for actually him to prove that he's there, he's going to beat these guys. He's going to beat your Taylors. He's going to beat your Garcias. If Garcia one day finally decides to come out to fight and put all those excuses aside. I think Gervonta Davis is the real deal in that division. Yes, there is also Devin Haney. I like Devin Haney. There's also this Teofimo. This Teofimo, you cannot count him out against anybody. Look at how he handled Lomachenko. Yes, Lomachenko, they are saying that he started late, the first 5 rounds. You know why? Because he was intimidated. This boy was able to intimidate Lomachenko, because boxing is not only physical, it is also psychological. And that boy is a master in doing that. True. We are still going to see a lot of good fights in that lightweight division. But at the end of the day, I think the one man who's going to remain standing there will be Gervonta Tank Davis.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. And Dice, what do you think about Teofimo has experienced a lot of challenges coming into this fight? You know, a lot of postponements, which I think they could affect him, you know, psychologically. And also, I see him a lot on YouTube, you know, every other day. You know, I'm worried if he's focusing on the fight itself, or he thinks that this fight is a walkover. Do you think that he's ready for this fight, given everything that is happening around him?
I was thinking about the same question again yesterday. Because I just don't think Lopez is 100% focused on this fight. I have a feeling that Lopez, however.
No, I'm saying I can hear you. I just agree.
Yeah. I think he has a lot of distractions around him.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Lopez wants to be a celebrity. And the first distraction, which is closer to him, is his father. Because his father is insulting everyone else. Everyone is insulting Bob Aram, is insulting the, ESPN, is talking bad about this, talking bad about that. That's the first one. The second one, on the issue of him wanting to be a celebrity, his fight is about 2 weeks away. He's got the audacity to take a 5-hour flight from New York to Las Vegas to watch Canelo versus Plant. And then during the press conference, he goes in there with all his belts. He's supposed to be in camp, for crying out loud. He's supposed to be in camp and be busy, you know. So I think he undermines Kambosos. Kambosos, I won't say much because I think Pralois, said a mouthful about Kambosos. We land on to a Maori. Welcome to Maori. You know those warriors. You know All Blacks. All Blacks before they start a game, they have a war cry which is called haka. That's a Maori war cry. He doesn't back down easily. Not a very good fighter. Not a very good fighter, because he fought Mickey Bay, and he couldn't stop Mickey Bay. I mean, it was both his opponents is Mickey Bay and the guy that Obralois mentioned, who was the former IBF featherweight champion. So his resume is not so good, but I don't think Lopez is good for this. Is focused for this fight. But as they say in sport generally, you are as good as your last fight. So we are now riding the wave of Lopez upsetting Lomachenko. Okay, so we don't really think that Kambosos can actually upset him. I'm not ruling out an upset, but I don't think Kambosos will take the punches of Lopez either, because he doesn't have good defense. Kambosos, he just comes forward. That warrior, in him is there. So, in a nutshell, I think Lopez will retain his title. He will retain his title by a knockout.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he's upset. Let me just put it that way. I wouldn't be surprised if he's upset. I think his actions and his dad's actions, will make him to be his own enemy. In terms of the sport itself.
Yeah. No,
remember, he was supposed to fight on Thriller, okay? Exactly. To get something like to get something like $4 million for this fight, and he couldn't get that. So we don't know how much that has deflated his confidence and his focus. It's only next week. Then we'll be sure. We'll be sure exactly what has happened. But on face value, I'm in that wave also. I'm saying the takeover. Lopez.
Yeah, Bursipo agrees with us. I also agree with you. I've got a weak point for Teofimo. I like that point. I think it's good.
No, we
okay.
We all like him. We all like Teofimo, but he needs to be disciplined. Because currently he's not.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, these past 2 months have been frustrating. His focus has been very low, and they've been all over chasing Eddie Hearn in the corridors, getting themselves everywhere, focusing on the fight, And if you check on YouTube, he is on every YouTube channel that you can see that talks about boxing.
Exactly.
I mean, really, that can be good at his level. That can be good at his level. Of course, we talked briefly about, Azinga, Fuzile, and Ogawa, because also Loyiso is here. We didn't give him a chance to comment about that fight in terms of how we think our boy is going to fare in that fight. Loyiso, what do you think will be a Azinga Ogawa fight?
It's very interesting. It's a very interesting fight because if you look at Azinga Fuzile's fight makeup, he's one of the best boxers in terms of skills that South Africa has produced. Amen. But having said that, he also falls in the same category of South African boxers, not being tough enough. That when the pressure bears on them, South African boxers fumble. When it comes to that time when it says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, South African boxers don't get going, except for a few. Maybe you could say Moruti Mtalane, and I don't know who else comes to mind. So as long as the fight lasts, and as long as the fight is good enough, comfortable enough, or Fuzile is able to handle the rushes, because Ogawa is going to come rushing like Porter, the rushes of Porter. Nobody, I don't think there is anybody, or there are few if there are, who can outpoint, who can outskill, who can outbox Azinga Fuzile. So as long as he is in there, he is going to be winning that fight. And all that needs to be done, in fact, that needs to have been done now, is to have worked on his durability, to make sure that from his training, he takes whatever he has to make him to be strong. And there's always a challenge here at home, the challenge of sparring partners. And I also wanted to...
Of what, Loyiso? You said the challenge of sparring partners.
The challenge of sparring partners. We always have a challenge of sparring partners. And as we're going through towards this fight, I was asking, who is he sparring with? And I only found out that nobody has come, nobody special has been like hired or employed to come and spar with him. And if you look at the fight now, about Porter. Porter was talking about having brought on Caleb Plant, Comington, Durrell, and even Javota. And we don't have that kind of opportunities here to actually get the sparring partners. You'll find that he's been sparring with the very same people he's been training with all his life. And now that doesn't do well when it comes to that level. Especially now, when they say we've got to up the gears. Because up the gears have got to be up from the training so that we can get to the fight. It's not something new. Now, another thing now that worries me now is the news that has just come out. Because I thought that arrangement had been made for Azinga to be at least a month in America to get more preparations that are different from the usual preparations there at home. And at the same time, to be there in terms of acclimatizing to the weather and all of that, because it's like very cold and very rainy in New York at this stage. And to prepare themselves now, not only for the boxing skills, but for what the body is going to have to take in terms of what is going to be breathing and all of that. But lo and behold, I find out now that he is still in South Africa. And the next thing I find that he hasn't yet even signed the contract as we speak now. And the contract now is that opens the door for everything to happen, because we are talking about the television fight, we are talking about travel arrangements, we are talking about accommodation, we are talking about everything, and no promoter is going to prepare those things and pay for them and guarantee without a contract.
Yes.
This is the mental state that Azinga good as because he's one of the best positions got it all. But his mind now going to be stable enough after all of Cold War in his management and trainers and all of that, and those miscommunications between his promoters here and promoters there, and whoever is in the middle of the whole thing that is making things not coming in. How is that the boxer now? Because there is a marriage in that club. There is a marriage of money of trade. And now
you're trying to bro, is this speaker sako? Check your speaker.
Utshona uyaphi?
Ndimshona ezilalini mfondini.
Bengandayithatha le nto wale fowuni igilwa ziinkukhu le.
Now I find out now there's a problems of communication between manager, promoter, and trainer. At the end of the day, I ask myself, but who is the manager? Because I think the manager has the right and the will to negotiate everything and bring to the club, unless the agreements of management are not the agreements of management that we know. Unless the manager is being treated as maybe an agent or a middleman who's going to go and take all the food here and bring here and say, okay, here is the menu, what are we going to eat? I think the manager is the one that actually makes all of those decisions. But now I think this now is actually going to be affecting the boxer himself, because the boxer shouldn't be up against those things. The boxer should be up against the opponent. That is all. So that is what is worrying me about this fight, because going before this, I was at this point that we have an 80% chance of winning this fight. But with all the hula baloo now that's been happening, now that is starting to drop it. And I'm just saying now on hope, just on hope that the boy goes into the fight with a free and clear mind to go and kick ass, like we say in Botswana. Mutilar,
Jimel alone. You mentioned earlier, but we could not hear you. You spoke about the sparring partners that Azinga is or might use for this fight, in preparation for this fight. Do you know who is he using? Like people are suggesting Bulana, Lamati, would be good for him in preparation for this fight.
Yes, but I didn't get to know if he actually got those names. I didn't actually got to know if he got those names. And at the same time, if you are saying Lamati, Bulana, you are still talking about guys who are smaller than him. Guys who are going to give him a good fight, but they are not going to be heavy enough to actually push out the best out of him in terms of durability. That is why when you come to fight like this, you've got to get some people from Limpopo, guys from Gauteng, guys from KZN, guys who are just going to give you that kind of fight, because you find that if you spar with the very same people that you know, even when he faints, you know that after fainting, he's going to do this. When he takes one step back, you know he's going to take one step back and take a step to the left. You know when he starts to crouch, you know he's going to come up with body shots and all that. You've got to get guys who are going to be challenging you mentally. You've got to, when you get to your sparring session, there are days when the sparring sessions are going to be declared fights. You are going to be having to be fighting, because the best out of you is going to come out. But if you're now going to have things easy in sparring, and then you start getting now taken into the deep ocean in the fight, then you are not going to know how to swim back. That is always my worry when it comes to our boxers this side. We always have this challenge of sparring. Like I made this example of Porter. Porter brought in Dirrell, Porter brought in Caleb Plant, Porter brought in Javonda Davis. Those are actually fights. And as long as you still have the long time in order to be able to recover from all that punishment, you will come out of that a much better, stronger, and more tenacious and durable boxer. So that is also what worries me. The guy has been sparring with the locals for the biggest fight of his life.
Yeah. Bryce, it looks like we're facing the Teofimo situation here with this boy. I mean, seriously, why this is happening to this boy? Like in terms of him focusing on the fight, now you must get himself involved in the arrangements for the management of the fight itself.
Why you're asking me why is this happening to this boy?
No, I'm saying I'm saying it looks like we are facing the same situation as what we discussed earlier with Teofimo not being focused on the fight, but engaging himself in management issues.
Yeah. Look, let me tell you something. East London or the erstwhile border region is not referred to as the Mecca of boxing for nothing. Okay? We have produced the best boxers. The best.
Yeah.
Talent is in abundance in terms of boxers. All right?
Yes.
But the problem is interference. That's where the problem is. I mean, go back. Go back to Welile Nkosenkulu. He was one of the best that we had.
Yes.
But there was interference. There was interference in terms of Charles Sebe coming into the picture, and then that divorced welcome away from the people. Okay? And he decided to go to Cape Town. Come back again. Mbula Lopotile. Mbula Lopotile went to fight in the US. He won the bantamweight title right here at East London Stadium. Interference again, interference. He fought the best featherweight, Paul Ingle. He won.
Yes.
What happened after that? So there's a constant sickness or a constant demon that happens to our boxers. Interference. You know, you have. It's a good thing to have fans, but there needs to be boundaries. There needs to be boundaries. That now you have I am a fan, but my boundary starts here and it ends here. There's nothing as dangerous as social media in boxing
Yes.
today.
Yes.
The East London boxing is being killed by fans on social media. I mean, you can like or dislike me for that, but it's true.
No, Mama agrees with you.
It's true. Instead of supporting boxing, we tend to pull boxers down and interfere in their business. Now, I'm done with that part. Let me just give you a scenario of how things are done internationally at the level that Azinga is at now. Internationally, you are given a maximum of 21 days to sign the contract.
Yes.
If you don't sign the contract within 21 days, the fight is off. And they're going to get the replacement within 24 hours to fight for the very same title. They don't care whether you take the fight or not, particularly if you are not even a main fight.
Yeah.
They can replace a main fight in 24 hours.
Yeah. We saw that in Tank Davis.
You are from South Africa, you are an unknown. You fought once in the US, you fought an unknown in Las Vegas, and then all of a sudden you think that your value is up. Internationally, no commodity has value over money. Promoters don't lose money because of a person. They pull the plug. That's what they do. But I hope that the attempts that people are talking about this afternoon are going to be arrived, so that we don't talk about politics around the camp, but to talk about the fight itself. Because if we were to talk about the fight itself, I'm sure Loyiso and I would agree that come the 28th of November, we're going to have the new IBF champion in East London. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all these things, all these shenanigans are happening to our best boxers. All these shenanigans are happening to our prospects. So we just need to professionalize the game and just build a fence around our boxers and not allow the influences of social media to affect boxing. Let me talk boxing now. Ogawa, Fuzi, it's going to take about 2 to 3 rounds for Fuzile to be comfortable in the fight, because I mean he knows how to adjust. And Loyiso, I hope that Ogawa this time he comes in clean. I hope Agachovanga this time, as he did when he fought Farmer. Because Ogawa is not quick. He's not fast. He is strong, but he's lazy to move. He's lazy to move. And I agree again with Loyiso. Ogawa will never, at any given moment, outbox Azinga. Never. He will never do that. But again, will Azinga be okay psychologically? I hope he will be, because the same shenanigans nearly happened when he went to Vegas the last time.
Yes, that's true.
And he came in prepared. So I think he's a boy who knows how to lock some of this thing up. I hope. I hope he. But as a human being, any person can take this much in terms of locking stuff out. At some point, he will have to break. At some point, he'll have to break. So that I think that the people who are involved in boxing, who have no interest at all, would have to convene and mediate between, you know, Azinga and promoters and management and all of that, so that, you know, we don't lose the talent that we have. We need that talent.
That's very true. No,
yeah,
we do.
Azinga is less than 25, if I'm not mistaken, less than 25 years. So he still has got about 10 years, you know, in his 10 years left in his career.
Yeah.
The last point from me is once in a camp, each person needs to have a role to play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We took Vajeka from here to Perth, Australia, and everyone was told, this is your role. All right. We took Vajeka to Macau in China, and everyone was told, this is your role. No one will come to me and talk about something that is not his role. Everyone knew everyone's role in the camp.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. And it needs to happen at a very early age in the gymnasiums. Ungacaba uBrabani ngenxa beclub yakhe lo uBrabani uzakwenza yonke into lapha ejimini. Do you understand my point? So at some point we need to professionalize the game itself.
Yes.
Not only say it's professional because Abafana Bakule invest. We need to professionalize how we run the sport itself. But other than that, I think Upraloy shares my sentiments on this one. We wish Azinga nothing but the best next weekend.
Yes,
nothing but the best. Let him go, let him win, and then after that, his team needs to sit down and clarify roles.
Yes, that's very true. Well, to safeguard, you know, the future of these boxers and other boxers, that's very, very important that we really professionalize and up our game.
Yeah. Nambu, you can't even get a visa without producing a signed contract.
Yeah.
And there are many types of visas to visit the US. But Azinga is using a P1 visa. It's called a P1 visa. Yeah. It's more like it's more like a work permit.
Yeah, work permit,
Yeah, because he's going out there to compete in a professional sport. So he's got that. So when you apply, for a visa, they say, give us a confirmation that you'll be engaged in a sport over there. What is that confirmation? Are you poster you fight? It's the contract. It's a signed contract. Okay?
Yeah.
For you to buy a ticket. And the sooner you buy a ticket, the earlier the ticket is. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you buy it late, it becomes expensive. It becomes expensive. And you can't buy that ticket without the visa.
No.
You can't buy that ticket you can't even get accommodation.
No.
Over there.
Not in the US.
Without these necessary documents.
Yeah.
So hence I'm saying we just need to professionalize the sport itself. You know?
Yeah.
So they thought professionalism could tennis. And I'm talking about the sport as an institution itself. Us as people who are in the sport, we need to be professional as to how we do things.
Are you telling me, Ace, now that with the kind of team, international team, from top to bottom that Azinga has, don't these people know that? Why is it that up to now, all the things that you are discussing here, we are not lying. We are talking about things that are really in effect, have either happened or have not happened. We are not guessing. Are you telling me now this team, this professional international team that Azinga has, was not able to agree to these things 2 or 3 months ago?
They are professional, okay? because Azinga's promotion now is the best in the country, hands down.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. Colin is doing a very good job in terms of getting these fights, getting ratings, and all of that. As an agent, excuse me.
Yeah.
he's doing a very good job. So that combination alone, Brother Lois, would presuppose that something like this can't happen. But the issue is that I know some of the things that I don't want to say here in this particular interview now. That might not sit well with some of the people that were involved. But I'm just saying, let's try and work together and define these roles. It's very important to define these roles and say, here's my role. Look, some people, when we took Vecheka overseas twice, a friend of mine, Uzuki, was part of the camp. And people were asking, Uya Buzuki? And I said, no, Uzuki is for special projects. And they thought I was lying. You know? Or they thought I was joking. And he performed special project is you wash the training gear of the boxer. Because a professional can't go to the gym more than once with the same gear without it being washed.
Yeah.
You go and arrange special food, the diet.
Yes.
Because we're going to a country we've never been in. So you need someone who would walk and check the shops and say, I've seen a shop somewhere. So I need, if we need this kind of food, we'll just walk. We needed someone to send. The next time we went to Macau, I took Giovanni Bushby with us. Why? Because I wanted someone who would be there with Vecheka in the room just to talk, joke around so that he forgets about the fight. So the team needs to, or the team leader needs to draw up a plan that every member of the team will have a role to play. I'm sure Pralois was doing that as also, that you have this role, and no one does anything without contacting me first as the team leader. And I'm sure that's what happened as also. So you need a very strong team leader who would read the Riot Act so that everyone follows. If someone doesn't want to listen, he should just go. I don't care whether it's the boxer or whoever. He should just go. Why? Because they're going to disturb your objectives of moving forward. That's basically what I believe in.
Yeah, that is very true. And at this stage now, we can only hope that all the things that you are unbundling and you are saying now they should happen, Azinga wins.
Yes,
so that
he should.
All of this now should be sorted out for the sake of other boxers that will be going there, because we have got so much talent. We are going to be going overseas each and every year to fight for world titles. In fact, I've taken boxers to that stage because that stage is totally different from the way we do things here. Starting from these preparations.
That's true.
I've taken boxers since 1995 to overseas to every country in the world. Things there are different. And you guys, in order to be able to deliver, you've got to have your house in order. Have your ducks in a row. Otherwise, if you don't, you fail to put your ducks in a row, they are going to fail even on the walk to the ring. And that's it. So let us hope that this is a lesson and this whole thing was able to be rescued that in time so that, number one, the fight goes on. Number two, the boy still goes to the fight with a clear head and do what he has to do the right way and win. Yes.
Yeah. You know, Mo, it's unfortunate that on the eve of the most important fight for Azinga, we're still talking the language that we're talking now.
Yeah.
We should be congratulating Rumble Africa from taking Azinga from amateur
Yes.
up until to the stage.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we should be congratulating
Exactly.
Colin
Yes.
for the moves that he
Arranging
has
the
done in terms of
Yeah.
getting the international route and so on and so up until this point.
Yeah.
We should be congratulating Chief for
Yes.
good work that he has done to develop and produce such a jam. All right.
Exactly. Yes.
Everyone, we should be congratulating people here. We as South Africans, we should envy the success. Basically,
Yes.
we should be talking about Mercedes-Benz, who's going to sponsor 4 or 10 fans to go and watch the fight. We should be talking about the municipality who's going to offer tickets, or a municipality who's going to have a closed circuit, at the city hall so that we can watch that. We should be talking progressive stuff. We shouldn't be talking about all of this nonsense.
No,
but unfortunately,
really frustrating.
Unfortunately, we are dragged into talking about elementary stuff, which is basically nonsense. And it keeps on happening over and over again in South Africa. It keeps on happening. We should be talking about we should be talking about the premier of the province arranging for some closed circuit.
Stadium
viewing park. Yes, we should be. We should be talking about that now.
Exactly.
We should be excited. We should be excited because Azinga should be overseas already. Because when they are saying New York, when they are saying New York now, when they are saying New York now, it's freezing. It might be difficult for them to even do running in New York. Because it's packed. They don't even know where to go from the hotel. They wouldn't know where to go. Will they go and run a hotel? We go into lunch, a treadmill? We don't know.
Yes.
So we should be miles ahead. But guess what? Ogawa is getting all the support that he needs.
And it's not his first time to fight for this title.
Exactly. Ogawa is getting all the support that he needs. Secondly, Ogawa is favored to win by the promoters. Why?
Yes.
Because there's money in Japan.
Exactly.
There's money in Japan. There's no money in South Africa. Because if Ogawa wins, the promoter will sign Ogawa, and Ogawa will have a sponsorship in a second. But if Azinga wins, then it's as good as nothing to promote. So our role is to make sure that we build confidence. We build confidence. We shouldn't be talking contracts at this time of the night.
No. We don't want to. We shouldn't. No, that's a very good conclusion, guys. I don't know if there's anything to conclude, Loyiso. These are powerful words of support to Azinga Fuzile and his team to really find a solution in solving these matters that we read in the news. Otherwise, we're very confident that the boy, with his skills, he's ready to take the fight and also to bring back the belt. I don't know, any closing comments from your side?
Yes, I must just say the same thing, because all of us, the whole of South Africa is behind him. This is very historic, and it is something that we all want to be able to own up to. Madison Square Garden, not everybody goes in there, but we've had the chance now to actually send our own. That's why it's good that we're all behind him, and we hope that by now everything has been sorted out, and by now he's ready to go. And we also hope that when he gets there, he has his mind together, he do what he does best, enze into adume ngayo, and bring the bacon home. Makuliwe.
Sijimela loo nto.
Sijimela loo.
No. Thank you very much, Ace. Thank you very much, Loyiso, for a very insightful debate. I think Dr. Mtya was right. You know?
Nonsense.
Okay.
Azinga has got an opportunity to give us what Happy Boy Mtlaji didn't. World title fight at junior lightweight.
Yeah.
Azinga has got an opportunity to emulate what Brian Mitchell did to win world title at junior lightweight and keep it for a longer period.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to say that as a closing remark.
Yes. No, that's very true. Yes. There's a lot of history, that goes with this fight. That's why everyone is excited, with the talents that Azinga has. I mean, since he showed up to the scene at the professional ranks, we've been all very excited, and we can't wait for him to win this belt. And I think it is going to happen. Thank you very much. I think finally we agreed on something. I think Dr. Mtya was very right that we might debate and disagree, but eventually, what will be the results of the debate? The results of the debate are that we agree that we are the maker of boxing. We agree that Azinga must bring back the belt, and that Harry Potter versus Terence Crawford fight is going to be exciting, and we are going to see who's going to win that one on a knockout, as the analysis was given earlier. Okay, now Loyiso, as it is the tradition in this channel, we ask for your top 5 pound for pound boxers currently. Thais gave us last time he was with us, so we need you to give us your best top 5 pound for pound.
Mine is number 1.
I go Crawford.
Mine number 1 is Canelo Alvarez.
Oh yes, I agree.
Number 2 is Terence Crawford. Number 3, Tyson Fury.
Yes.
Number 4, Alexandra Osei.
Yes.
Number 5, Javonta Tank Davis. And that is the future of boxing.
Oh yeah.
No, thanks, Loyiso. That's a good one. I think it's a good one. We can't challenge that. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. You must have a very good evening, and thank you for honoring the invite. And thank you for your support and your comments. We look forward to growing the channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mbuyekezo. Thank you, South Africa.
Good night.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Loyiso. Colleagues, thank you very much. It was a very good and exciting debate between myself, Dr. Mtya, and the ace, Sijuta, Sidinile. Thank you very much for your support, for your comments. Sorry that we could not comment to every comment that was given because the debate was heated. So we will see you next time. Subscribe to the channel and also click the bell for notifications so that you don't miss our videos. Thank you very much. Good night. Ciao.